Right, so we're going to be making barbecue rib glazed Jack Daniels ribs. So what you need for this one, you need the ribs. Doesn't matter what type you get, but these are from a butcher's. That's not far from here. Can of Jack Daniels, and I'm going to be cooking this in the roasting tray. So you need the roasting tray, and you need some aluminium foil because you've got to wrap this up because it kind of cooks in its own, like its own steam, and so it locks in the flavour. Most people, they'll soak this overnight, but I'm just going to do this one straight on the fly. That should be a very sweet, savoury flavour. Also as well, you need your extra virgin olive oil. Now I will not be flame blasting these because I've got to kind of wrap these up in the tray when I cook them, and they're going to be very low and slow. So the approx cook time for this, I'm going to allow about 2.5 hours to 2 hours, 2 hours to 2.5 hours. I'll show you how it's done. So usually most people, what they do when they cook the ribs, they'll prep them up, take the membrane off the back and put them in there. These ones here, I'm not really too fast. I'm just going to chuck these straight in the tray. But first things first, I'm going to spray some oil down. That's just so it doesn't stick. Now it sounds a bit funny with Jack Daniels and oil, but that should be okay. And these ribs, they are, quite large. So put them in, that's one on the rack. And I'm going to overlap it with the other one. It's actually very large. So that's why I'm going to slow cook this lot. Should really be cut down, but I'll wrap it up pretty good. And what I'll do on this one, I'll probably give it a light spray of oil again, and then I'll cake it in Jack. Yeah, so with the excess sauce out of the pan that it comes in on the tray, I've drizzled that straight over the ribs. Then I'm going to put the Jack Daniels all over the ribs. Most people say, oh, that's a waste of Jack, but I'm not putting a whole bottle on it, it's just a can. So this should actually be quite nice. Now a lot of people, they use Coca-Cola as well, but I thought, nah, this one, got to try the Jack on it. So yeah, just Jack and Coke, standard. Don't use doubles, don't use triples, unless you really want it nice and strong. But this should be quite nice. Okay, so I've had to heat the barbecue up quickly because when I moved the Jack ribs, they kind of started leaking everywhere. So anyway, this will be heating up to approximately about 100 and I'll say we'll cook them around about 150 to 160 now. It is a bit hot today, so yeah, I'll do about 150, 160. I'll leave them in there for about an hour and a half, and then I'll check them, I'll unwrap them, and depending on how they look, I might flip them and give them a little bit more cooking time. But as long as the meat peels off the bone, they're done. So we'll see how we go. Alright, so I got a bit of a change of plans. I thought I'd better check these because it is a bit hot outside, and these are cooking a bit hotter than what they usually would if it's colder weather. So let's have a look. That's put a bit of a rip in there. Have a look. See how we're looking. They're looking actually coming along pretty good for low and slow. So yeah, they've been on for about an hour or so. Let's leave that little bit of breathing in there. We'll still cook them low and slow. I reckon they've got at least about another hour easy. I've had to cut one of the burners back. So it's only run on one burner. So indirect heat on one burner. But yeah, so we go. Sweet. Rightio, so we're going to take this right off and we're going to see how this pork looks. Actually, I won't be able to get it right off because it's wrapped underneath and extremely hot. So, what we're going to do, there's still a lot of juice in there. I think I'm going to leave this, uncovered. So yeah, generally say a lot of the time I'm going to wait an hour, I'm going to wait half an hour, I'm going to wait 45 minutes, whatever. Because I record my videos in parts, it's a bit hard at times because it smells hot, and yeah, I don't like to leave it. This thing can cook extremely hot and fast at times, so I just like to constantly check things. And the way I record these videos at the moment, I'm only recording off the phone, so I'm not actually using the GoPro. So all these videos are actually all pieced together. But anyway, as you can see, it actually smells quite good. There's a lot of jack in there. It's probably a bit hard to see with the lighting. I'm just going to cover up what I can. And I was cooking on one burner, so I'm sort of swapping burner to burner, but what I'm going to do now, because the meat looks like it's hitting a pretty good spot, I'm going to flick this over to both burners. I'm going to crank it up to around about 180. I'm going to let that go for about another half an hour to 45 minutes. I'm going to rotate the ribs again. Just let that juice burn up a bit, and it should come up quite well. Rightio, so this is the end of the ribs. So, as you can see there, I can dig that in there. They're a little bit tough, but yeah, that's probably just the membrane there. So, I'm going to take these off, and I'm going to put the sauce over for the juice. Extra jack. And I'm going to drizzle it in barbecue sauce and let it settle. So there's plenty of juice here. And the nice big ribs. They won't really look like they are majorly cooked, but they are reasonably tender. A little bit more on the rare side, but yeah, they're good enough. So I'm going to try and drizzle the sauce over without making a mess. And I'll show you how they look with that one there. And when I let them settle with a bit of juice in the pan, I'm going to put a bit of barbecue sauce in there. Look at that. Jack Daniels pork juice. Yum yum. That was a bit of a mess there. You can see all that jack drizzling. I had to use my trusty tongs and my tools. So anyway, I'm going to drizzle this in some barbecue sauce, and I'm going to let it rest in the residue heat of the barbecue. So the barbecue sauce is just there just for a little bit of extra flavour for when it cools down. So most pizza shops, that's the way that they do their ribs. They just chuck the barbecue sauce in there. It all tastes the same. And this is the conclusion of my Jack Daniels ribs off Diggy Ziggy 3. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll upload some more videos sometime soon. Just send us a message. Shout out what you guys want cooked next, and I'll review your comments and see what we can do. Thank you. Peace.